Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I have here 8 OnePlus 3 or 3T phones that have been thrown away by somebody and they've been donated to me after being picked from the trash. I also got 4 displays in an unknown condition. So let's take a look at these phones and displays and see if they work or if they can be repaired. With a quick visual inspection, we can see that phone number 1 has missing camera lens and cracked screen. Phone number 2, cracked screen. Phone number 3 looks very nice and clean. Phone number 4, cracked screen. Phone number 5, cracked screen. Phone number 6, severely cracked screen. Phone number 7, cracked screen and bent frame. And phone number 8, also cracked screen and a bent frame. Next, taking a look at the replacement screens. 2 of them have cracks on them and 2 of the screens seem visually intact. Okay, let's see if these phones show any signs of life. After letting the phone charge for a while, it did blink the indicator LED, but there was nothing on the screen. Anyway, since this phone seems to have some life in it, let's test the replacement screens by connecting them to this phone, and let's see if we then see a picture. After removing the 2 bottom screws and the SIM tray, we have access to the display's flex cable connector. With the first screen, no luck. There's no image on the screen and this one seems to be defective. Second screen does indeed seem to be working, at least it's showing an image. We've not yet tested the touch screen, but this seems promising for both display and phone. Third replacement screen, also very nice AMOLED image. Fourth replacement screen, no image. So 2 of the replacement screens seem to be working and they seem to be in pristine condition and original AMOLED screens, which is very nice. Testing the rest of the phones, we have another one at least that blinks the LED, but this cleanest looking one that I had most hope for does not seem to show any signs of life, even the LED. Here we have a third one that blinks the LED, and a fourth one, fifth, sixth, and we have 7 phones that do blink the indicator LED. So 7 phones out of 8 do blink the indicator LED. What I'm next going to do is I have here phone number 8 and phone number 3, which is the pristine looking one, and I'm going to see if I can change the screen from phone number 3 onto phone number 8 and if I can combine these 2 phones into one working phone. After opening phone number 3, we can see the blue gunk here near the battery connector, and so this phone number 3 looks like it has been submerged, likely, or it has gotten severe liquid damage somehow. So phone number 3 looks otherwise like a lost cause. Its battery and the main board and also probably the USB board are all totally gone, likely. I won't be mixing them with known working components, but I've previously noticed that screens often tend to survive liquid damage even if the other components are gone. So I'll be testing screen from the liquid damaged phone 3. So the main board, the battery and the USB board have now been transferred onto phone 3. And as you can see, it does display an image. As well as the screen from phone 3, I'll also be using the frame from phone 3 since it's in good condition. And here we have one working OnePlus 3 combined from a dropped and screen cracked phone and a water damaged phone. So that's one working phone already, ordering 0 replacement parts. So next thing I'll be doing is swapping the 2 white tested working screens onto 2 of the OnePlus 3 phones. And the phones that will be getting the possibly original AMOLED screens will be phones number 4 and 5. As both of these white screens come pre-attached to a bezel, I'll need to move all the parts, so the USB board, the main board and the battery, to the new white screen. After unscrewing the sub and the main board from the phone, I'll need to move some other parts before I plant those on the new frame. So the white screen does not have the speaker, the home button, or the ribbon cable that connects the power and volume buttons to the motherboard. So those all need to be transferred over. But before I can get to the home button and the ribbon cable, I'll first need to fight with the battery. The battery has 4 pull tabs in all corners, so there's at least something made to make the battery more easily replaceable, but it was still quite a struggle, as batteries always are, to take out of modern smartphones. After moving over the home button, I began working on the ribbon cable, and that was very fragile and it does break very easily, so I had to be really careful. In this ribbon cable there is small PCBs on the connector part and on the parts where the switches for power and volume buttons are connected, and it's very important to firmly have the switches for the buttons attached on the frame, because if they're any loose they will become pinched between the screen and the frame, and when that happens they'll very easily break. I had one ribbon cable break, but luckily, as I had so many phones, I was able to extract a replacement from one phone without having to order it from AliExpress. After that, I connected the logic boards onto the new frame, attaching them with one screw each in order to test the phone. And as everything seemed to be working, I assembled the phone fully, and that is now 2 phones fixed. Now the second white screen assembly doesn't have some component that the first one has. For example, there's these, I think they have to do with the temperature sensors, so these small copper pins needed to be moved over to the new frame, as well as the plastic lens thingy for the camera's flash, and also there was a thermal pad that needed to be moved over, and I also noticed that this black shielding tape was missing from the new frame, so I attempted to transfer it over and it tore quite a bit, but I managed to get some of that onto the new frame. Since I had got some practice with the other phones with removing the battery, I managed to do quite a clean job with this one. It took quite a bit of isopropyl alcohol and patience mostly. But yeah, this phone is also now working, so we have 3 phones. There's phone 8 with phone 3's screen and phones 4 and 5, and all repaired without ordering any replacement parts. One of the phones was refusing to update from Android 7 either with the integrated updater or via local upgrade. I eventually solved the problem. It had some development build of Android 7.1 and I needed to flash a certain build from OnePlus forums to get it to upgrade further. So now there's 3 phones fixed, 1 liquid damaged motherboard that does not work, and then there's 4 motherboards left that probably do work, but I have no replacement screens left for them, so I'll need to order some more. Before ordering new screens, I tested that all 4 motherboards did work by connecting them to one of the non-working screens. Since AMOLED displays are always very expensive, I ordered cheaper TFT screens for the 4 remaining phones. The TFT screens are a bit thicker than the original screens, but they come pre-attached to a bezel that has been custom made for the TFT screens, so that doesn't cause any gaps or other issues that sometimes happen when you install a TFT screen onto a phone which originally had an AMOLED. Instead, the installation of the TFT screens was exactly the same as installation of the AMOLED screens. So eventually I was able to fix 7 out of 8 phones, which I'm very happy about. These phones have already been donated to a charity within a larger batch of phones. These phones had quite bonkers specs when they were new, and especially now the 6GB of RAM is very useful. The difference between OnePlus 3 and 3T seems to be the Snapdragon CPU model and the front camera. All phones have been upgraded to the official Android 9 update. OnePlus 3 was released 2016, but I would say it's still a good phone now. If I was going to use this as a daily driver, I would probably use a custom ROM, but since I'm donating these, I'm not gonna be there helping when something goes wrong with the custom ROM, so I'm going to keep these with the stock Android 9. As you can see here, one of these white screens shows the black color a bit differently. Maybe there's some very slight burning, but it's barely noticeable anyway. This is one of the phones that have the cheaper TFT screen installed. It's a bit thicker than the AMOLED on the left, as you can see here. And the touchscreen isn't as sensitive as the AMOLED, but it's very usable still.